So back in about February, I had gotten invited to an amazing Valentine's Day party with some of my peers and friends, and I was just over dating. I didn't have a man that in my life that was strong enough to stand beside me in all the places that I needed him to, as well as just to actually have fun and have that natural connection with. And so I just stopped dating altogether and threw myself into work because that's what we do. And one of my good friends said, you have to work just as hard on your personal life as you are in your business. And I thought, you know what? She's so right. And what an amazing friend to call me out in that way. With my work, if there is something that's lacking, I'll work so hard to make sure that I address the issues and fix them. And I guess, had this, preconceived thought that my love life would just fall together, easily. And that wasn't the case. I don't think that it always is. I came back to my team first though, and I had told them, we've got to rent me a guy because I need to go to this event. And they put me on Bumble that day. And it was the most amazing experience. I've got to tell y'all, I found David that first week that I was on there. I did go on other multiple dates. My first one was a terrible experience. I can't believe I got back on the saddle and continued to go. And after that, I was like, is this really what dating is now? Is this what it is? I was like, no, keep pushing forward. David had shown me, even like in the beginning stages of just talking on Bumble only, he was extremely consistent. We were both traveling all over the place, but he was always checking in consistently throughout the day and extremely thoughtful in his questions, and you could tell he was actually listening to what I was telling him, because then he would recheck back in about those things. And so that was initially what drew me into him. And we had finally scheduled our first date after about 2 months of just talking online, because we were both traveling when the other was back in town. And his jet broke the night before he was supposed to fly back in. And he was like, I said, don't worry, let's just reschedule. And he came back and he was like, no, I'm not missing this date for anything. I'm gonna figure out how to get home. And he did. And he's always shown up in that way in our relationship. And I feel so, so blessed by that. And that consistency with us, I never once told him, oh, it's time for you to meet the girls. He would consistently come back to me as our relationship was growing and say, okay, I think that we're now ready for this. I think that we're now ready for this next part. And when he came to me and said, after a few months of dating, I really am committed to this relationship and want to be a part of the girl's life as well. I felt so excited, so nervous as a mom as well. He has just shown me over and over again, he is just as committed to them as he is to me, and lifting them up, and where I'm a free spirit and want the girls to go out into the world and just to be with me, he's very, let's give them more structure. And it's just been that amazing complementary muscle to get to lean on each other for that. So after he had met the girls and we had established those relationships and watched them grow together, it became apparent that he was my person for life. And I feel so blessed that he felt the same way about the girls and I. It was just an amazing, comforting feeling knowing like, you have your soulmate. You found them. When David proposed to me, I didn't know this at the time, but he had arranged a trip to the Caymans, and but because of COVID, that all changed. I feel so glad that he went on and proposed anyways, even though he couldn't keep to his original plan. And I think that speaks like leaps and bounds to the rest of our relationship too, pivoting and knowing like it's not always just going to flow as you originally thought. So the day that he proposed, the girls were just so excited. I was so excited, and I could not wait to just start that next part of our life. And so after he proposed, we went to look for wedding bands. And one of the great things about being in Austin is I love Corman Jewelers. They have been a staple in the Austin area for decades, and getting to lean on somebody that is so family oriented, just cared about wanting to insert things into our lives that had a meaning, was something that I wanted to make sure that we incorporated into our wedding bands, being such an important piece in our lives. So little did I know, he had already gotten my ring from Corman's. I thought that I knew what I would want in a wedding band. Brittany was absolutely amazing in pulling out some pieces that I would never have chosen for myself. So just allowing that process to organically unfold, I would highly recommend, because the rings that I wound up with fit my life completely. She asked, what do y'all like to do? What are y'all doing separately? And one thing is, because of my work, I do travel around the world, sometimes to third world countries. And so I do also want to have something that I can wear in a third world country, and still show my commitment with my wedding band. However, also go to a party and feel like my ring is complete. She listened to that and said, let's pull some different things aside and play with them. And it turned out to be exactly who I am. My wedding band is a beautiful row of baguettes, and I would have never chosen baguettes for myself. And then she came back and she put a simple band in between, that it's a simple beaded band. So I can do that when I'm traveling to other countries abroad, that maybe I don't want something so flashy, but I can put that baguette band on as well with my engagement ring and just have the completed package. And while I was waiting, the jeweler came out, and normally when you go into a jewelry store, they're very cold experience. That is not the experience that you have at Corman at all. They're all fun loving. It's a family oriented, very playful atmosphere, which I love, because you feel encouraged to be able to play with everything underneath the cabinet and not being so hands off, like, no, you can't touch that one, or let me pull it out for you. It's a very open experience, which I found to be very, encouraging whenever you're wanting to take a look at different things. But the jeweler came out from the back room and he said, let me take a look at your engagement ring. Took it off and he was like, let me take it to the back. I think that there's some issues here. It turns out one of the prongs completely off. And so he helped set it correctly. I didn't have to pay for that, and that wasn't something that I was even in there for. I feel so blessed to get to marry this man. I have an extremely gypsy soul, and from the moment I met him, I felt like he was home. My drive to always be on the go and gone stopped, and I saw him as my home. His arms were my comforting spot. And to get to marry a man and spend the rest of my life with someone that's just so uplifting and has my back, I feel so blessed. Thank y'all so much for watching. It means so much. Y'all were all reaching out, asking for more of what we were doing during this amazing time planning the wedding. And I can't wait for y'all to tune back in a couple weeks to see the actual footage. It's gonna be absolutely amazing.